Alright, it's Dixon from Locals Only on 95X, and we're doing another edition of the video blog, so to speak, for Locals Only. This is episode number 4, and we're here with Ohne-ká on the Burning River. You guys want to introduce yourself? Say what did you do in the band?
I'm Brian Jones, I play bass.
My name's Adam Altoff, guitarist.
David Sachs, guitar.
Steve Lohr, drums.
I noticed nobody said singer.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
Dabbling a bit, some of the new material, but nobody is going to take claim for lead vocals at this point.
So for the record, up until this point, Ohne-ká and the Burning River has been an instrumental band.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was kind of to start off as being very much just kind of off the whim, just play a riff, and then play off that, and then play another riff, and there really wasn't room for vocals. We tried doing it at one point, and it was like, it's really not working, so it's kind of got doing our thing.
We had a lot of series of writing songs, and we focused more on writing, and vocals were always an afterthought. It's something that we never determined to set out to be an instrumental band, but it just never came up, and by the time we knew it, we had a lot of material, and it just felt right as far as keeping it instrumental. We tried out Marissa from Summer Call, and she was doing vocals for a while, and she did a great job, but we all just kind of agreed, her included, that the song just felt right instrumental at this point.
So you guys just released, or a few months ago released, a full-length CD called Where the Real Wind Blows. Basically instrumental CD. There are samples on it in the place of vocals in some points. Talk about the CD. Tell us the thought process behind it. Actually, let's go back a step. Where did Ohne-ká and the Burning River start?
Well, Ryan and I used to play in a band called Cicada with two of our really good friends, and after that was all said and done, Ryan and I and our good friend Ben continued playing music together, and we actually started writing a lot of this stuff. I was actually playing drums at that point.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep it going, keep trying to play music together because that's what we like to do. And we just didn't, it just progressed and it moved on, and then unfortunately Ben passed away.
Well, no, hold on, take a step back, because when it started, like, Cicada broke up, and it was like, well, we lost our drummer pretty much, and it was like, well, what are we going to do about drums? And Dave's like, well, I could play drums. So it was like, Dave started playing drums, so it was me, Ben, and Dave, and then Benjamin
That's what I started playing.
Yeah, Adam was living with Ben at the time, and Ben was like, why don't you have Adam come up? And he, like, hounded this guy. Hounded him.
He got me up there. Yeah, we had some good songs going.
Now, rumor has it you had never picked up an electric guitar until that point.
I dabbled a bit, but that was my first time really playing with other people. I had started out acoustic maybe 5-6 years ago, and then that was my electric introduction.
Yeah.
So.
And this, like, he was really the saving grace, I think, because at the time, I mean, the three of us were really bummed about Cicada breaking up, and Adam came along. He was like a new, fresh thing. You know, he had like these sort of acoustic folk, sort of songs already kind of written, and then when he put it to electric, it had that grit, and it had that like awesome sounding thing, and it was just like a breath of fresh air. And those first two songs we had with Benjamin, Ben was playing lap steel, and those are still two of my favorite songs we've ever written. Sadly, we can't play them again. I keep hounding him like, we should rewrite Hope and Despair. Like,
we'll get around to it. We'll do it. We'll rewrite them.
Those are still two of my favorite Ohne-ká songs. Those beginning songs.
The three of us went to high school together, so I can recall many a times going to watch him do open mics acoustically and really enjoying it and hanging out, and Ryan and Ben, and we would all go and have a couple beers and just watch Adam do his thing and play acoustic, and he was living with Ben, and Ben pretty much convinced him to come up because we needed another guitar player.
Yeah.
So that was the original start. We didn't have a name at that point. We were just jamming. There was no thought of...
Well, I think we were just Ohne-ká at that point. And we were really into the beer, Burning River, the Great Lakes beer. And it was Benjamin who was like, this is a great name. Like, I think it should be added to it. Like, he was like, what about And the Burning River? And it was just like, whatever, you're drunk, And then, like, after all was said and done, after he passed, it was kind of like, maybe we should add that to it.
There was a side story to go along with that, with the Burning River. So there was
we were watching you at an open mic night.
Yeah, we were at an open mic night, and they had Burning River on tap, and Ben went to order a beer, and the lady just looked at him, and she goes, "You drinking the burning river?" And it kind of struck him.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's
yeah, I'm drinking the burning river.
In typical Ben fashion.
Took it metaphorically instead of literally, and then he ordered the burning river.
Yeah.
So after all was said and done, like, he passed away, and it was just the three of us, Like, we actually started doing something again, and it was like, we're actually doing something again, After Cicada broke up, it was really kind of, a heartbreaking thing, and then having Adam come along was like a new thing, and we're starting this new band, and it was just like, at the time, it was just like, let's just play together. We just constantly played, like 3-4 times a week. And then Benjamin passed, and it was like, what are we going to do? And then there was one time, like, it was his birthday, the summer he passed, and we went up to the room, and that was the first time we all played together, the three of us, and it was just like...
Since he had passed.
Yeah, since he passed, it was like the first time, and it was just like, you could tell there was something going on. So with that, I was like, all right, we should definitely keep this going, because he would want it that way. And I think it was either Dave or Steve's brother who recommended Steve and Glor down there.
We've been friends with Steve even long beforehand, and his brother as well, and we were kind of didn't know what to do, and his brother suggested that we try Steven out, and totally worked.
Yeah. Probably the best decision we've ever made, actually.
It totally worked. We may have been a little hesitant just because of the circumstances of being so close already, and then the loss of Ben bringing us closer together. But he was with us the entire time as our friend and his family. So it was, after we jammed, it was just really logical to just be like, all right, this dude has chops. Like,
you guys were against it, though. Some of you guys were.
I was
a little wary. I was a little wary.
I was still new at playing music with other people, so it's just like I had no idea how to hop in and play with someone that wasn't like a really close friend of mine that I was really comfortable with. So I was pretty against it, but it worked out really well.
I was really struck by, like, after Ben passed, it was like, I don't know if I can play music with anyone else ever again. Like, that was really tough for me. There was a couple of months where I was like, I don't know. I remember calling Dave once. I was like, I don't know if I can fucking do this. It was really, it was a really tough time.
I remember that phone call.
Yeah.
It's a pretty late at night phone call, wake me up. And it was just
like, I don't think I can fucking do this anymore, man. And then he kind of talked me down, and then we jammed with Steve, and then the more we jammed with him, it was just like, Steve just like, we like showed him the songs that we had, and some of the new things we had, and Steve was like, I can do that. And he did it like 10 times better. No offense to your drumming, Dave.
No, I agree completely. It was one of those things where, like, when we originally tried to do it, I was like, well, here's what I was going for. And then he just did a Stephen Glor and did it, like Ryan said, 10 times better than I could have even described. So it worked in such a way that we couldn't argue with it for too long. It just worked. And Steven's probably the most professional musician I've ever played with, whether it's in a band or just jamming or just hanging out. So we couldn't. It was maybe a few conversations where we were like, do we really want to do this? Should we? I don't know. And then jamming just totally killed all of our
anxiety
and worries about what we should do. So, and then it's been
like
four of us
comet.
ever since. Yeah.
Sort of meteoric, to speak. I mean, you guys kind of started with a bang, and it's just rolled along ever since.
Yeah.
You guys are, in my opinion, one of the best drawing bands in Syracuse. You guys work very hard and promote yourselves very well, and there's an artistic manner to it as well that I feel completes the package, so to speak. Now, some of you guys are artists in addition to being musicians as well. So, like, how do you feel is there a rhyme to exactly what the artwork that's been put out with the music means?
As far as the album goes,
The album, the flyers, you guys tend to have control over the things that get put out, especially in this day and age. It's cool because I noticed that the cooler flyers and art pieces that are promoting shows on like Facebook and the other social networks are the ones that consistently get shared, and your stuff consistently gets shared. And I honestly think that it's by a lot of people that just seem to like the image, and I think it's also easier for somebody to share something because it's a package. The art and the music are one. It's iconic to it.
Yeah.
I think they are one. I think when people do art or music and combine it or don't combine it, they can absolutely be one. They're one and the same thing. Standalone or together, art and music can be the same thing. If you put yourself into it, if you really truly believe in what you're doing and it speaks to you on a level, when you're creating that flyer at home, it's going to translate when you share it with other people. And that's something that we've always done. It's just kind of, not to sound corny, but it's just who we are. I mean, we really love what we do, and that bleeds over into every aspect of it. I mean, he has a great deal of knowledge of what to do outside of the band room, and Ryan and I have done it as far as playing in another band, and Adam's done it on another level as far as doing open mic nights. That's a whole nother level, and everybody kind of brings in what they have to do, and we all really care about this on more than just like, hey, come and check out our band, or like, we all really care about this. And then on top of that, with everything that we've gone through, experiencing the loss, and wanting to share what we've gone through and how much it's all meant to us, I think it translates well.
Yeah.
Obviously from what you just spoke of, which is, it's great that people recognize that. I think that's great.
And also on the artistic level, you guys at your CD release party set up a screen and a projector, which, you know, for me, kind of completes the package. It's an instrumental band. It adds that extra thing to hold somebody's attention where a singer would be. Now, do you have other tricks up your sleeve with new music that potentially has an artistic aspect to it as well, or was that like a one-time thing?
I think we're definitely going to continue with the visual aspect of it, with projections on the screens and everything. There are going to be some vocals in the future as as like instruments, kind of using vocals as an instrument, and some actual verses and singing. So we're just going to explore every horizon that we can. But the projections, I think, is definitely something that we're going to move forward on.
I have access to another projector, and I want to do like 2 videos at once.
Yeah.
Just get nuts. Just get real
And
nuts.
I mean, Ryan does mostly everything we've edited as far as video. Ryan has done as far as projections and YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like,
Oh, I remember. That was the first thing that everybody kind of went nuts over.
Yeah,
was
right.
that initial YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean, before we even released a demo, when we finally put it out, it was set to a video that Ryan had edited, and we were kind of, I thought it was a great idea, and he did a great job.
Took off, man.
He's definitely the visual guy as far as it comes to that. Ryan has done a great deal of that.
Is that still up on YouTube?
Yeah, there should be a couple
one of them got put down.
One of them got put down. Yeah, the first, we had like an old demo of Bud Lake, and at the end of it was just these 2 chicks with no shirts on dancing. Some like 30s old porno.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't very raunchy,
but it was like 30s porno, and YouTube was like, "That's not good. You can't have that." You know, did one of those.
Before we did our own videos live, though, we were asked to play a Halloween show, and that was the first time we played a projection, and we played a black and white horror movie.
We played
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yeah, we played Frankenstein. We just played to Frankenstein, and we did some originals, and we did some covers.
Blew the power.
Yeah, and we blew the power in the place too, which was awesome. But we got a lot of feedback from that. A lot of people said the same thing that you do. It was great to take the place of not having a lead singer. It was something to do, other than people that love shoegaze and want to close their eyes and listen to us.
Yeah.
Definitely got good feedback from videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because there's a lot of bands, and let's face it, I'm not going to call anybody out, but there's a lot of just boring-ass bands out there. They just kind of stand there and do something and then wonder why nobody connects with what they're doing. So the fact that you guys do that, I think, is why the masses come out to see you. Now let's go back to the record for a little bit.
Sure.
It's called Where the Real Wind Blows. You guys have had it up for a while. It's available on iTunes.
Yep.
Do you have copies anywhere locally where people can go and pick them up if they want to, other than a show?
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden in Armory Square, right across from the entrance to the Most.
Yep, I think it's available in the local section. Also, I think it might be in the ambient section too at times. But other than that, we always have copies on ourselves, and I think there's a few other places that we have
it's
it
on,
online.
It's on
iTunes.
eMusic. If anyone has eMusic, it's on Spotify, and it's free, so you can just go stream it whenever.
Very cool. It's
Should
an
be on
opportunity
Amazon.
to go and check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Now, going back to Ben, for those that haven't heard the record, Ben's dad plays the intro and the outro on the record.
Yes, he the first song was I think the first song he was dabbling with already, and Ben had heard parts of it, and we tried to get him to jam with us many times because
Yeah.
he's a local Sammy Award winner.
Yeah.
He was in Cross Creek, so he's like a pretty classic dude in our music scene, and he rips at what he does. And we would always push him to play with us, but he's kind of set in his ways, and I think he is really satisfied with playing at home. And he always told us that if you give me the material, I will write something to it, and I'll record it with you guys. But we like to jam a lot. That's how we write a lot of our stuff. And so after everything was all said and done, he agreed hands down to write some material for it. So he had that song, and he finished it, and then he wrote his other piece to close the record.
The outro, whatever.
The outro for Ben.
Ben's Lament, I guess.
Ben's Lament.
He was very like, I'm just gonna do this, because I think after he passed, it was like, he was like, you know, we kept hounding him to be on, to record and play with us, and like after Ben's passing, he was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, you know, and he like wrote those 2 songs, and the first time I heard that beginning song, like, I was bawling. It was just to watch him play, it was just a beautiful thing. It was epic, you know. And every time I see Tim, I still see Benjamin, which always freaks me out sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it's really weird.
It's tough.
It enhanced it as well too, because we recorded the record entirely ourselves. Steven did it, and we did it all in our band room. And he had the knowledge, and we all agreed a long time ago there was something we really wanted to do as much of this band in-house as we can. Not only is that attitude great, I think DIY is awesome, but given the circumstances, I think it was important to keep it kind of closed off into ourselves.
Tight-knit, sort of.
We all knew how we felt, and not including anybody else at that point was a really good decision. And so watching Ben's dad record those parts in the room where Ben had written some of these original songs with us was really magical.
Yeah.
I can't think of another word to call it, but it was like breathtaking. It was just silence for many moments before and after he finished.
Well, I distinctly remember you gave me the record without those parts, just sort of a rough version of it to hear, and that was what I was used to. And then I got the record, and it was just one of those moments where it just stopped you in your tracks. You know, like hearing that intro was just, for me, having seen you guys a few times at that point and having listened to that unfinished album hundreds of times, like to put it on and to hear something that wasn't there before, and it just all of a sudden clicked that it belongs. Like it just, you knew right away what it really was. It was like a magical moment.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure he recorded the first song in 2 takes, and then the last one he did in 1 take. And he just looked at us and he says, "It's not going to get any better than that."
Take it or leave it.
And I recall recording Cicada stuff and hearing very similar things out of Ben's mouth.
Yeah.
So nobody argued, and we were just like, "You got it, man." Absolutely, absolutely.
So the record's been out for
3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah.
May?
I
No.
think so. Yeah.
It was
a little
about May.
more.
Yeah, it was May.
A lot of that.
and
April 20th, so this is a release.
Oh, April 20th.
So,
is
yeah,
the release.
420,
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
420
The big
show.
420 show. So
Yeah.
yeah, April, the end of April.
So if I know you guys, and I do, and there was a little Facebook blip about it, there's obviously some new tunes.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
It's no longer on Facebook, by the way.
Got taken down. Yeah, I mean, we're always working hard. We're always jamming. We're always doing what we can. We had a bit of a setback because
Hang on.
Yeah.
I think I
How'd you do that, Dave?
I think I can skateboard, and I can't. And
Longboard.
longboard. This is proof positive that I should just stick to playing guitar. So, yeah, I mean, I broke my ankle pretty severely.
Like Tim says, you're too old.
I'm too old.
to be skateboarding.
Too old. So that set us back a little bit, but we had a little bit of material prior to that, and we just started jamming a couple weeks ago. I think it was
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
I finally felt well enough to get out of the house, and we're just plugging right along. We spent a lot of time talking about what we want to do as far as where we want to go with the new stuff. The entire album it's Ben's album. It's for Ben.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't need to talk about what the songs were going to be, where the inspiration came from. It was very an unspoken thing, like all these riffs, all these thoughts and emotions, like this is what we're dealing with at this time. And we're always going to be thinking about Ben. Ben is always going to be the fifth member of this band. I mean, we still have riffs that he wrote that we will use. But we've spent a lot of time talking, even not playing, about what we're going to do with new material, where we want to take it, like you said, artistically speaking, visually, musically, and so I think that's pretty. I don't know if other bands do that, but that's definitely something that we do even before we start jamming. What kind of emotions do we want to convey through the songs even before we write them? And I think we've got 2 new songs.
Yeah,
and
about
it's
2.5 now.
2.5.
2 finished.
It's definitely 20 plus minutes
It's
of
almost
new
30
material.
minutes,
Almost
yeah.
30 minutes of new material
For 2 songs.
for 2 songs.
I want to say again, like, we're very lucky to have Stephen Glore. That guy's like the ace in the hole, man. Like, he'll just set up this guy down here. Like, he has like, he'll be like, I can set it up and like make it record stuff. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's the last one.
this is definitely something that is new for me. We started recording practices.
yeah, when he was out of commish, the 3 of us would go up there and we would record stuff, and then Stephen would sort of edit it down a little bit, make it somewhat sound good, and then send it to Dave so he can. So we weren't like not practicing. We, at least he can hear what we were doing.
Yeah.
With technology the way it is, that stuff's getting
Yeah.
easier and easier.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he definitely is the vessel for bringing that technology to me, because I am not savvy with a lot of those things. I'm aware that they are there.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you, man.
I know that they exist. I acknowledge that they exist, but he shows me the benefits of their existence.
I still can't figure out the touchscreen on my new iPhone. All right, so
I didn't even have that. Yeah. But it definitely helps. I mean, you always hear about bands doing pre-production, and I assume this is kind of what they do.
Yeah.
When we hear these songs and we have the ability to sit back and listen to it, I mean, and decide where we want to take it from there, chop down, add on, what to do, and it's definitely something we need to do with our music, being that the songs can be fairly lengthy, and it's not always necessarily something that we strive for. We don't sit and say, hey, let's write a really long song.
Mm-hmm.
We get excited when we find out that a song is 15 plus minutes. I mean, that after we listen to it, we're like, yeah, that's awesome. We just wrote a 15-minute long song, but it's definitely not something that we sit there and we need to do. It's not like, hey, let's drag out this one guitar part, because it's not monotonous to us.
No.
It's something that we like, and it's something that really isn't that uncommon, in my opinion. I mean, I listen to some of that old Pink Floyd stuff, and it's and on from there, even newer bands. It's not uncommon, but I think a lot of people might think it's uncommon or shy away from it because they're used to other things. But it just feels right for us.
Well, here's the thing, on that point to a degree, is that you guys are one of a few bands in this town that pretty much every other musician comes out to see. And to me that says something about the musicality of it, the level of musicianship, is within the band. And it's the other local musicians that end up spreading the word of Ohne-ká, so to speak. Because it kind of grew from that little scene that we all kind of belonged to, and then it exploded out of that. And then the more variety of bands you guys play with, the more I see the bands you play with becoming people that come out to see you on a regular basis. So how does that sort of feel as musicians yourself, just knowing that you have the respect and admiration of your peers, at least from the fan perspective?
I can say as I remember being like a 14-year-old kid going to those shows and stuff and thinking, man, this is awesome. I remember seeing like Ed Gein, at like their New Year's shows when I was like 16 or 17 at Bridge Street, and being like, man, that's awesome. I love that band. And then when I remember even playing Cicada and seeing like Graham and Jesse out there, I was like, that's awesome, man. Like those are dudes I look up to. Even with the local scene. And then I think it's great. I'm completely honored, and I feel extremely lucky.
That would be my first point too. I'm honored by that fact. I think it's great.
Well, last week I did 2 sets of these. The previous episodes were a 2-parter with How to Disappear Completely, and the second was Black Throat Wind. And we'll get to this question with you guys. Actually, we'll do it next. But the one question I ask every week of everybody is, hey, what local band is it that's out there right now that's absolutely killing it? Like, who's your favorite new or established local band? Like, what are you really into right now? and both of those bands went on and on.
I don't think either of us need to.
Went on and on
Visually.
about Ohne-ká and the Burning River.
Well, Black Throat Wind would be. I still am constantly listening to that album. It's amazing.
Those guys are really good friends of ours. We go back to the Cicada days we went out and did a long weekend with Elk and Bone and Ian Bear from Black Throat Wind. He was with us hanging out, and it was just like, it clicked. We were all friends. We're all the same age. We all really liked the same stuff. And then they had their new project. Actually, the first Black Throat Wind show was with one of the last Cicada shows at Spark Art Gallery. And we all lost our mind. We're like, this is awesome.
I mean, even if we weren't friends, to be honest with you, like if I were a random kid and I heard that album, I'd be smitten kidding. I think that album is just so effing good. It's just like, it kills it. That album is just front to back. I can listen to it over and over. It's an amazing album.
Absolutely. So what else is out there that you guys are really getting into right now?
Locally?
Yes.
I really, really dig some of the Leyline stuff. I think that's something pretty unique for what's going on right now. Jason has been a friend of mine since high school, and those guys are incredible musicians. I think it's awesome. I'd love to see them do more, see what they can do.
That's going to be difficult because Nate just moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
I was unaware of that. Well, that's a bummer, so I'm glad I got to see them a bunch of times. So I totally dig that stuff.
I love Summer Cult too. I mean, I think Summer Cult's
So
great.
that's the other band that came up both times last week as well.
You know, I think they constantly just go out there, which one of the things I absolutely love and respect. Like, they'll play anywhere, and they'll like just to get it out there. I think that's great.
And I think they haven't even begun to be able to touch the ceiling of what they can do as a band.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it for me about them, to be honest, is what they're doing and the fact that they have the balls to do that here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's Syracuse and it's Summer Cult, and you're like, man, if they were in Brooklyn, like, I would get why they were doing that. And the fact that they have the balls to drag that out with some of the bands that they've played with in some of the less than stellar rooms in this town is, proof positive to me that they give a shit about what they're doing. Like, they wear their hearts on their sleeves. That's a big part of why I dig that band.
I think Aya is one of the unsung bands in the city. They don't have many releases, they don't play many shows, but when they do, it gets better every time.
Yeah. Every time I see Aya, it's fucking different.
It's
AIIA.
Yeah.
AIIA. Yeah. The musicianship is incredible, and it's phenomenal. I can't say enough good things. And I've yelled at those guys at almost every show they've played that they need to do more and progress.
I've done it too, man. They just don't listen.
They're very
like a woman.
I think they're great. I love Counter Pursuit. I think Counter Pursuit is awesome. Their last show that I saw on that, it blew my mind what they were doing. It totally changed from when I originally saw them. It was like super proggy, but awesome, and not like long and pretentious. Some people think prog rock can be. White Picket Fence.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last time I saw White Picket Fence was
one of the funnest shows I've seen. Let alone a local show. They were great. They were phenomenal.
They've matured a lot over the last couple of years.
In a while.
Like,
they were great.
I think the last time was at Spark.
I saw them at the Lost
Recess show.
They were awesome. I know. I've enjoyed Swamps every time I've seen them.
I saw them for the first time at 420, and I was really impressed.
I think it's pretty cool. I dig what they're going for. Rejuisance, I hope I'm saying that right. Rejuisance.
It's Jim Heffernan from Sparklights the Friction and Bad Cops Band. The name of the band actually comes from an old Sparklights the Friction song.
They're awesome. We played a couple. They're that band I think we played with once or twice, and every time our two bands converge, and we're just like, why aren't we playing every show together?
They're playing the Scarlet Ending CD release party on September 7th.
Nice.
Awesome. That's another band too.
Yeah.
I remember like the old. I was in high school, man.
Yeah.
And they were at the Beeville Battle of Bands, and they played. And it was just like these chicks can sing their hearts out, man. Like they're amazing musicians, and that's a band that's completely grown. And every time I see them play, it's just like it used to be the two of them, and now it's like a full band.
And that full band is eclectic, and there is some talent in that band. Like, I think John Ted is one of the most completely underrated musicians in the entire scene. Like, that kid has it in him to just absolutely shred and write songs and sing. And, like, I want to see if John Ted is going to do something that's, John Ted focused.
Yeah.
We all remember Spiria.
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic, I want to see where he picks up after that.
Yeah, that's cool that they're still doing it, man. I can't believe they've been doing it for this long. Still blows my mind. That's great. They're doing a studio show. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, September 7th, it's them, Black Throat Wind, Rejoissance. They're bringing in a singer-songwriter friend of theirs, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's awesome.
Good show.
Well, speaking of shows, I'm not going to say the whole lineup right now. We're just going to say that there will be a triumphant Ohne-ká in the Burning River return on October 5th at the Lost Horizon.
A healthy return.
For the very first Locals Only showcase.
Which we are very proud to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to go old school with this one. There's going to be 6 bands, and it's only going to be $5.
Fugazi style, man.
Fugazi style. And we're actually going to give one of those dollars from every paid admission to musicforthemission.org. And I'll explain Music for the Mission to you guys right here. They sponsor my show, which is Locals Only. What they do is they essentially will back local shows in an effort to spread the word of Music for the Mission, which is them taking money that they garner from local musicians that are playing shows and donating percentages, and that money goes directly to less fortunate people in our community for both food, clothing, and shelter.
I mean,
So it's a definitive, worthwhile element, and they also help fund the show itself. So it's one thing gives and we give back.
Which I think that the music scene should be all about.
Absolutely.
On every level, between promoters, bands, other bands, supporting, coming out and hanging out. It's all connected. It's all one. Everybody does their job and it's appreciated. It's cyclical, and I think it's definitely improving in this
Absolutely.
city. And knowing that that's how the show is going to go, I'm even more stoked to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So, quick synopsis. What's next for Ohne-ká in the Burning River?
I think what we're doing, I mean, obviously with the first album, we were kind of more, it was kind of a natural thing that drove us. It was, we didn't have to try, we just kind of practiced a lot and just play music together, and obviously there was, Benjamin driving everything, and everything just felt natural. Now we kind of head in a direction, and it's a little more industrial, a little more dark, and just a little heavier, and that's what we're working on right now. We're still in the middle of writing all those songs, but I see another full length.
Steve was talking about he wants to do a split too.
Yeah, we've had
different projects with other different bands in the area. We've talked to like Black Throat, and we did talk to Ley Lines.
We did talk to Ley Lines.
That's not gonna happen, but
sharing it. Yeah. Our hopes for this summer were to really kind of get out of town a little bit. We haven't really explored much outside of town with this band, and just kind of connect with some of the local cities and see where it goes from there. That was definitely our hopes. Bring the live show to other people.
Yeah.
It was. We played out of town a couple times, and I think people were really surprised with what we had to offer. So I think in town people kind of heard. There's some, from whatever hearsay they can pick up about us, they kind of know what to expect. But when you roll into a venue with some of our friends that have taken us out, and we pull out a projector screen and put that on and turn all the lights off, I think it kind of turns some heads and people don't know what to expect. So we were really hoping to bring that to other places.
I would love to play like Ithaca. I mean, just the towns around here, like Ithaca, Buffalo, Rochester. I tried contacting the dude from the Bug Jar. He was like, "Oh, do this." And I was like, "Okay, I'll jump through all your hoops." Still haven't heard anything yet, but
that's
the hardest part, really.
Is
like
getting
out of town.
I've
been struggling with that. We've been struggling with that.
I mean, we've been fortunate, like you brought up earlier, that we've had a lot of friends that are playing music in this scene. So we've been really fortunate to be invited to play a lot of local shows. But now we're eager to, like he said, jump through some hoops, push it out, get out of town, because it's definitely something we want to share for ourselves, to just show other people that like it's real music. It's coming truly from our hearts, and it's inspired by something more than just mundane, everyday kind of jamming. It's definitely
there's the outside chance that someone out there will like it.
yeah, and that's definitely something that we're not going to turn away from.
It's a given.
We always love talking to new people and making new friends too, and that's great.
Even we played in what was it? It was New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. I mean, there was a small turnout, but like there was a dude there who was just selling CDs, and he was like, "I love it, dude, I love it." And it was like, even just that one dude, we were like, "That's awesome."
Well, because he's going to play it for everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we gave him a couple of them to sell. It was like 4 for $20.
Yeah, he did a small
like a
distro out of shows in New Hampshire, which was cool. And I mean, there's a part of me too that really wants to kind of show people that Syracuse is it's full of support.
Yeah.
It's not full of naysayers. It's not full of people that are going to step over other bands just to get their band ahead. It's full of people that want to share the music, who give a shit. It's plain and simple, who give a shit, who really give a shit. Not about themselves, but the fact that like we have a lot of great talent to offer, and that's something that I love to go and represent Syracuse out of town.
Excellent. Well, to wrap, this is Ohne-ká on the Burning River. They have a CD out. It's called Where the Real Wind Blows. Tell me again where it's available.
Soundgarden, iTunes, eMusic, Spotify.
Which is where you can go and listen to it for free.
Yeah.
Which I recommend you doing for one time. And then you go and you buy it from one of the reputable places it is for sale. And these guys need the cash.
We would love it.
You want another record to come
See a
out?
white Ford Focus? You ask me. It's in my trunk, okay?
And listen to it with headphones in the dark. Burn some incense. Drink some beer. Or
Smoke pot.
do whatever else you want to do. And just enjoy it. Hang out. Support. Rock and roll, man.
Excellent. Thank you guys again for coming in. Once again, this is Dixon from Locals Only on 95X. This is our 4th episode and probably 5th episode as well of the video blog, brought to you by the Stanley Law Offices and Music for the Mission, which you can find at musicforthemission.org or search it on Facebook. They support the scene, so you should support them.